Hello and welcome to Open Palms. This is Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. We got an awesome game thanks to Toe Jams. Gave me a whole bunch of replays, and I'm hoping this one will be good. At least it's labeled as good, and very good players in this one. We got Tag Rock on first air. This is 3599, and everybody knows Rock, the Godfather. Let's see what he does with the first air, and he goes second land right away. He is taking on Mephi. Some people might say he is the best player, but it's probably up to debate, but definitely one of the greatest cybran players as well as Rock. And this is going to be a cybran on cybran matchup, which is something that's not very common nowadays in FAF forever. But that's alright. So we'll go fast at first. Looks like with the first air factory went first to engineers, so nothing coming out. There's always a jester option for the cybran player, of course. But so far, oh yeah, here comes a jester. So one mass extractor, 4 power generators, and you can see now Rock is actually going to force the jester out with his ACU. So we'll see how effective that is. We just see first ground from Mephi. He is going to the hydro. Hasn't really decided on the second factory yet. Looks like it's going to be land. Second, third land, 2 PGens so far. That's a Manti coming out. Looks like quite a bit of power spam there. And the jester is out. Says a little past 2 minutes. Let's see how much damage it can do. It'll definitely force Mephi into making a whole bunch of flak, because he has really no chance to make any air at this point. You can see what the target is for Rock. It's definitely the engineers. Prevent any kind of expansion, prevent the production of power. And here come 2 factories producing, actually just 1 factory producing flak. This one's still producing mantis. And of course the jester can just fly away and cut off any kind of expansion. See a factory started here by Mephi. That's not going to be successful. And this is a devastating jester there from Rock. You see we're already 5 kills here. A little after 3 minutes, Rock's finally at his hydro. He's going to finish it, make some more land, and looks like the ACU for Rock is going up. The ACU for Mephi is already expanding. Really the only unit at this point that has any kind of expansion without a massive flak escort. And you can see this jester, 6 kills, continues to cause damage. There's actually, this engineer survived, surprisingly. That's a very big advantage there for Mephi. If that NG was killed, this factory would not be finished. Now this factory is going to make quite a few NGs now for Mephi. You can see this jester's not only he's got a gun, he's got really good reconnaissance for Rock, and looks like quite a few units here from Mephi. Not too much land at all for Tag. He's got a stream of units coming in. So he's going to try to sneak around the side, but Mephi has very big advantage here. He will get behind Rock's base, and he'll prevent, at least they'll try. They won't be able to work against the ACU. And a pretty massive force here on the other side. This will be very hard to take for Rock. He's got an engineer coming out, but a few sneaky Manti. So we know Rock's extremely good with Manti. And there's another victim now. Mephi taking out expanding engineers from Rock. I can see that jester looking for more kills. Already with 10 kills. No expansion to the stop side at all because of this jester. And one mantis does get snuck in with some radar. And now it's mantis versus jester, and the jester is going to win. So actually quite an even game, but very different tactics from these 2 players. And actually Rock taking out a few of these raiding manti. The raider runs away. So in terms of expansion, even though that early jester did a lot of damage, really the only true expansion that's been successful has been by Mephi with his ACU. Rock has been having some trouble getting his mass extractors, but good work here from Rock actually surviving. But it looks like from the back you're going to see a whole bunch of these flaks that can actually switch to shoot ground. That's the advantage cybran have. If you hit them with air, they can always switch to hit that ground and start killing NGs with their flak. It's not a wasted unit, but still Manti sitting in the back. Some ground kills for that flak. Now we might see some fighting here. This is a really large force from Mephi plus the ACU, and some aggression here from Tag. He's probably going to have to retreat very soon. And Rock continues to kill off Manti instead of building mass extractors here in his expansion. You can see this jester with 14 kills actually ran out of fuel here at minute 7, and a drop coming in straight by a whole bunch of interceptors, and that should be shut down. So a little opportunistic there from Mephi. Flew right into a cloud of interceptors, but we can see both players now have pretty good air forces. Actually a very good one from Mephi. And T2 ground, now we completely missed that. Looks like Rock rushed T2 ground. That's maybe one of the reasons he didn't have too many units on the map early on, but now with these hoplites, extremely good, especially in 3599, he's going to put a lot of pressure on Mephi. So you can see the plan for Rock. First, go an aggressive Jester, prevent expansion, and then rush quick T2. So far Mephi's just been very balanced with his Tech 1, although he's gone Tech 2 as well. So both players are going to have a whole bunch of hoplites here coming up on minute 9. See a group here taking on the ACU. They can outrange, plus the stealth makes the hoplites so much more powerful. And it looks like 2 of these hoplites actually snuck in. 6 kills for one, 7 for the other. On the other side, Rock's still trying to get a expansion established. Got most of these mask tractors capped, but perhaps this force here definitely wants to avoid this point defense. Can sneak around and get behind. These Manti from Mephi still doing their job. This engineer has no hope. Maybe a little T2 on T2 action. Of course, these have a stealth field. You can see they're not being shot at unless there's direct visual contact. And now there should be. Definitely plenty of units here from Mephi. Mephi now with 12 kills in the ACU. And some hoplites doing some raiding, and looks like Mephi will try to get around the corner here. Point defense from Rock. Get a few kills, but a few of these will get through, killing off engineers. You can see we're very well placed Manti here on either side of this mountain, taking out mass extractors. And still this T2 versus ACU fight. Rock's got to retreat with these. No reason to get so close to an ACU, and now he is going to do that. Actually, Rock doing good defense here. These did not have enough speed to get around. 15 kills for Rock, and now map control. It looks like that Jester from beginning finally gets killed here at 11 minutes. Had a lot of kills. Now it looks like this expansion for Rock is in quite a bit of trouble. He was forced to retreat with his T2 force from the ACU, which allowed a couple Manti to sneak in, kill actually quite a few mass extractors. There's a total of 6 here. Perhaps these will be in danger as well. But raiding from Rock as well with the T2 force, 4 Manti and a stealth field, taking out 4 mass extractors, 6 mass extractors. We are seeing some transports from Mephi. Looks like he took over one of these high areas. 3 mass extractors, a whole bunch of trees. The other one still hasn't been taken by anyone. And in terms of air control, looks like Mephi has quite a few more interceptors. We are seeing some T2 flak in Rock's armies. So that's a very powerful force here. Don't see too much T2 flak here. So looks like Rock had a little more T2 spam than Mephi. We are seeing T2 power now from Mephi, minute 13. Quite a bit more power than Rock. And now we see pretty big scouting from Mephi. He's going to probably pick his strat now after he's seen basically entire base for Rock. But this Mantis here is a hard worker here. 4 kills already, preventing any expansion. That's a lot of mass extractors that Rock hasn't been able to take. And if we look at the situation from Mephi, he hasn't been able to take those either. 7 kills for a hoplite there, and these hoplites will prevent any expansion from that engineer. Looking at this factory, we might see T3 soon, or maybe we'll see some more air. It looks like a whole bunch of transports with hoplites here. Maybe a drop is planned by Mephi. And with this amount of hoplites, perhaps Rock can think about killing this ACU. Of course, there are a few reinforcements there for Mephi. And a pretty large force of T2 here in the middle. Looks like some transports here for Rock. In terms of map control, extremely even here, except maybe these extra 6 mass extractors on the high edges, high ledges. No upgrades on ACE yet. 17 for Mephi, 17 kills, and Rock with 15. Still just T2. 2 T2 factories from Rock, purely hoplites. And this is beginning to be a really large force here for Mephi. Not much happening up on top here. Actually quite defenseless here. These hoplites can do a lot of damage if Rock chooses to use them. Perhaps he's happy with them just blocking. We are seeing cruise missiles flying from Mephi's base. He's got 2 missile launchers. And it looks like he is going to be targeting these T2 factories. And that's 2 cruise missiles. Takes out one. Perhaps he can take out the other. And that's going to be very devastating for Rock. His hoplite production has been stalled. In the next few minutes we might see, and actually we don't see any T2 engineers, so it means that he can't make any point defenses. And immediately Mephi attacks. He knows in the next few minutes he should have numbers. More cruise missiles flying. Rock has just rebuilt a T2 factory and it gets killed immediately. This is great use of cruise missiles from Mephi, suppressing any kind of T2 production. I guess that's a bit of a mistake, not making missile defense as well as not scouting these missile launchers early enough. So Rock could be in a little bit of trouble here. See hoplites controlling the middle for Rock. More cruise missiles flying. Rock has taken his ACU to T2. He's going to get a tactical missile defense. More cruise missiles flying in. Looks like these were targeting the ACU, but both missed. And neither player really, and it looks like a counter drop here from Rock. Excellent work. Took up that high ledge, and another drop on the way. And this is a massive drop of 4. Each one of those has 6 hoplites, so 24 hoplites there for Mephi up in the air. He can put them anywhere he wants, and that could be very devastating. We'll see where he puts them. Couple sneaky hoplites here down the middle, looking for things to kill. And that's a massive engineer group there. Looks like Mephi's going to switch to making air with those. And a big retreat for Rock. He's going to try to prevent and this is going to be interesting. 26 hoplites. And if those fly over some T2 flak, that'll just be devastating. He just drops him off directly in front of Rock's base. Some T2 point defenses here, but probably not enough. Rock trying to get more. Simultaneously, you can see this main force for Rock is occupied with some manti, and these 24 hoplites are going to be reinforced with another group of about 24. So a lot of T2 coming into Rock's base. Great work from Mephi, and still in the middle here, these are good units for Rock. And still lots of things happening all over the map. A counter drop from Rock, but the main point here is Rock's main base is getting run over. He's got to do something with his ACU to prevent losing this game. He is pulling his main force back. It's a big trouble here for Rock. If he can survive it, however, there'll be a lot of nice wrecks for his engineers to pick up. Rock's actually just getting out there. He does not want to die. But you got to say good work from Rock's raids here, and actually some engineers taking some of Mephi's mass extractors. So even though he just got attacked quite hard there, he's still pretty much in the game, considering he's going to reclaim a lot of mass. And this is a nice counter drop exactly at the time where Mephi was attacking him, so it looks like he'll be able to take these mass extractors as well, as he's taking the others on the other side. And this is not a good place to fly if you're Rock. A lot of T2 flak here for Mephi. Looks like he's going really heavily into air. And this looks like a victory for Rock here, where he took his main force and prevented these about 50 hoplites from killing his base and rebuilding very quickly. Looks like a cruise missile launcher for Rock as well. He should not have absolutely any mass problems at all, and those hoplites did not destroy most of his power, so Rock is still very much in the game. So Mephi's got to come up with new ideas, and this raid here from those hoplites really made this much more even than it had to be. You can see in terms of map control, actually can say perhaps an advantage for Rock, even though we saw some great attacks from Mephi. So here, Mirror 21, we can see Mephi has reclaimed nearly 10,000. Not too much production. You can see he's got big mass problems. And Rock only has 5,000, but he's going to catch up very quickly from all these wrecks in his base. He doesn't have nearly as much mass problems as Mephi. So we'll see if it's perhaps a comeback for Rock. We are seeing Manti versus Hoplites. This is the force that was victorious. Remember, it was on the side, preventing any raids, then saved the main base. And now they're coming in to kill some Manta and do some more raiding. Imagine these hoplites all have a lot of kills. Actually, these look pretty fresh. Well, they were with the... They fought together with the heroes over here. Rock now at 16 kills, T2 power, and multiple T2 land factories producing, looks like, more hoplites. Hoplites and T2 engineers. And now this looks like an attack from Rock. It's T3 air here from Mephi. It looks like Mephi went all out T3 air, forgot to make it land. And now Mephi's ACU is going to have to protect his base. And you can see Rock here attacking the engineers, and the splash damage from the hoplites devastating to these NGs. But Mephi's ACU doing a good job here protecting his forces. Surprised that Rock is shooting at the Manta instead of taking out all these engineers. It'll be a big loss for Mephi. You can see Mephi making tech 1-point defenses. They're excellent in close quarters. It looks like a nice attack and good defense from these two players. And cruise missiles now flying from Rock. Perhaps he took out the tactical missile defense here. And he is targeting the T3 factory. It's going to be rebuilt very quickly, but it is costing a lot of mass to Mephi. And Rock really doesn't want any T3 air to come out for Mephi. These cruise missiles, no tactical missile defense at all. That must be what those hoplites took out. But we do see some Tech 2 engineers. They should build TMD as quickly as possible. Some T2 bombers. That was excellent bombing there from Rock, targeting the engineers, but we do see ASF now for Mephi, so that will no longer be an option. 3 ASF for Mephi, and Rock's got to be thinking about putting some shields around his ACU. He does have some shields around his power, plus some stealth. There's also T2 flak. And in terms of land, Rock is still fighting, trying to control the map, but it looks like Manta here for Mephi pushing through the middle. And these have been Rock's mass extractors behind Mephi's base for nearly half the game now. And Rock has really good position up top. It looks like going T3 air on one of these ledges. That's going to be very interesting. For now, he's just making T2 bombers. Some minor fighting here. Some nice artillery taking out undefended mass extractors by Mephi. Some sneaky units from Rock. Nice placement of wall, but this is completely undefended and doesn't look like there's any reinforcements. So if Rock moves in, kill a lot of mass extractors. Rock has got to he's got to get a lot of power. He's got to get a lot of shields to protect against this T3 air. We are seeing strat bombers coming out from Mephi, so Mephi is going to be looking to finish this game soon. That's his first strat bomber. Perhaps he can use that to kill some of those units, or he can keep it hidden. And this continues from T2 bombing against these engineers. Continues from Rock. He wants to prevent this T3 air at any cost. Now, finally, these already here took out quite a few mass extractors, get defended, and that's a lot of T1 air. With this much T1 air, you can defend against a couple strat bombers. More drops for Rock. Rock working on T2 power, more shields, some problems, but plenty of T2 flak in this area. You can see here, you don't want to fly over this. It looks like a lot of free mass extractors that if Rock sends some NGs out there, he can pick up, and yeah, he's dropping off some NGs. He's going to have a lot more mass than Mephi very soon. Actually, he probably already has. See T2 defenses here, TMD, for this expansion. It's going to be very hard to break. And a bit of an air fight here. Actually, these strat bombers from Mephi getting hit by T3 air from Rock, a really nice factor here. This is what Mephi did not expect. So a nice placement of the air factor. However, we do see cruise missiles. We do not see any TMD here. A T3 air factor would need 3 cruise missiles to kill it. Of course, now these engineers, instead of making air, are going to have to be investing in repairing this factory. We should see more cruise missiles come in. And there goes that T3 factory. Excellent cruise missiles from Mephi. Now Mephi is the only player here who has the T3 air capacity, and has got some TMDs there as well. See if Rock chooses to make some T3 air back at base. He looks like he's on T3 ground. We're going to see T3 ground versus T3 air in this game. An extremely good game here coming up on minute 30. Rock is beginning to take over the map completely. He's basically surrounding Mephi with mass extractors, and he's taking the rest of the map. And these hoplites here are sitting for a while, realize they can take out a whole bunch of mass extractors, and they can probably keep on rolling through. So Mephi has really given up ground here about 5 minutes ago, and it's been really bad for him. But he does have T3 air. Looks like Rock has rebuilt T2 air here. He's got T2 engineers. Going to get some TMD. And a bit of an SF fight here. Yeah, so this is a good strategy here. Although one good thing about T1 anti-air from Cybran is that they can hit since they're guided. If you leave your T3 air, it's still successful. Only one TMD there. They're very good against targets that stay for a long time over them. Even T3 air is going to be damaged. This hoplite, good placement of a hoplite from Rock. And we are now seeing T3. We see bricks coming out for Rock. He's going to see bricks versus Manta. Manta are faster, so they can run away. This should be a good raid here from Mephi, and Mephi is beginning to put a little more faith, I guess, in his land. He's mostly T1, still good for raiding. Now we can see Mephi flying in over Rock's base looking for any targets, and when he sees T3 ground, he's going to be probably concerned. He's got to come up with a good plan, because if you get a whole bunch of bricks across from your base, you need a plan to do something about them. And here we see T1 versus T3, and perhaps T1 will win. Massive numbers advantage here for Rock, and we're going to see green win this. So Rock has both air and ground at this point. Mephi with 30 kills. Still bombers, strat bombers is still the plan for Mephi, but is that really going to be viable? We see Manta here. T1 units outrunning T3 and doing damage. Excellent work from those Manta. But now bricks moving in direction of Mephi's base. 3 bricks here. Hoplites running away from Mephi's ACU. And really Mephi only has mass extractors directly in his base, and they're all T1. Which means he's got to reclaim something somewhere. Otherwise he has absolutely no mass. These Manta, very good bricks, now finally trying to catch up to him. But I imagine that Mephi will run away. You also see some hoplites following up these bricks. That's a disadvantage of bricks. Perhaps a few loyalists would have been the better choice to protect against these units. Now finally it looks like the bricks are catching up, but the Manta did their job here. They're going to run away. Bricks against T1, some T2 there. Disadvantage for Mephi. Mephi has absolutely no eco. Really good eco here. There's no more sniping at this T3 factory for Rock, although it looks like he's not producing anything from it now. He's thinking about it. It's going to be gestures. Gestures from a T3 factory. He's going to try to snipe this ACU. That's a very nice plan for Rock. And here at minute 35, this has been one of the better Cybran on Cybran battles. And of course, Open Palm's always a great place to watch these. And here we see bricks just massacring Manta. Really no chance. 14 kills for one, 15 for the other, 6 for the other. Hoplites versus bricks. Bricks don't care. Way too much health and way too much damage. And they can just move in to Mephi's base, but that doesn't matter. Some other bricks on the other side is just taking out his ACU. So a very good game there from Rock. He was in a lot of trouble from land. Perhaps not as much trouble as Mephi thought. And after Mephi attacked him with that T2 force, Mephi just switched completely to T3 air, not realizing that Rock, during that attack, did a lot of raiding and actually took back quite a bit of map. And then Mephi, of course, found himself with just air and no land, taking on a superior force and a superior economy. And eventually Rock was able to defend against the T3 air with his own T1. Put in a sneaky T3 factory here. That was awesome. And then eventually winning with T3 ground. Really not much you can do against T3 ground when you fall behind, unless you can go for a snipe, but Rock defended well. So hopefully people enjoyed this one.